What's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. BobbyFi here. We're flying solo today. Sheets will be with us for the live show tonight at 6 Eastern. We also have a golf video coming up. But I thought we'd talk a little baseball. Didn't do great in baseball yesterday. Did really well in the NBA. Finished 7th in the alley-oop with my only entry. Single entry. It was top 10 in most of them. Ended up like a little 4X night on basketball, so that was good. Baseball had some decent starts. Was looking pretty good, but things just kind of faded for me at the end. Didn't quite get there even with my Astro stacks, but all cash, just not deep enough. It felt really good for beginning, and then it just sort of fizzled out on me. But we got another really interesting slate today. I think it's going to be a tough one because there are so many stacks that you might want to play, so many viable stacks in this particular slate. So let's get into it. I'm going to tell you guys sort of what I'm doing and how I'm narrowing it. And I do have those my picks posted on the side of the page. We're going to have it, built out with a better spreadsheet starting next week, just for each sport and stuff like that. Even though mostly it's just MLB right now, but I can talk a little NBA on the live show a little later if you guys want to talk Showdown. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump into this a little bit. I'm actually going to show a couple different things, make sure that we've got this right. Yeah, I mean, just you can see right here on the site, right on the right of the homepage of True DFS, I've got my pitchers, my stacks, and my hitters. And basically what I'm going to be saying on this is going to be, I don't want to say regurgitating, it's going to be basically saying the same things that we have on the side here. And you can sort of see what I'm looking at in terms of who I'm playing today. There is some weather concerns, so we want to keep an eye out for that. So just make sure to keep that in mind when you're building. I think everything should be okay, but just in case, double check back with us on live before lock. I don't think it's going to be quite as much as yesterday. Sorry about that. Got a weird little friend's cat over. So sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, this is sort of my main core for today, and we'll talk about it. I'm not going to go game by game, but I'm going to give you an overall sort of what I'm doing. At pitching, as I say over here, I'm going to play a lot of Garrett Cole today. He struggled a little bit lately. If you want to pay down on DraftKings, I completely understand it. Play Gomer, Mize. Mize does have one of the only extreme hitters umpires today. Otherwise, I would like him quite a bit against Seattle here. And he's been really good. I mean, you can take a look over here. He's actually been like way, way better than his price. And it's weird because people even played him last week on a full slate with a lot of pitchers, and no one seems to want to play him today. And you look at these matchups, White Sox, Yankees, obviously you get KC and Seattle, but Seattle again, 29.7 fantasy points last time, and really nobody's going to play him. I'm not sure if these early projections are right, but I do think he makes for a terrific tournament play, even with the extreme hitters umpire, if in fact people do end up fading him. The other guys I'm considering over here, as you can see, McClanahan, kid's got a lot of talent, but we, always some boom busts there with the young guys. Patrick Corbin, another boom bust guy in general. I don't think people are going to play Taijuan Walker, and I know he had one bad outing, but let's just, put this in perspective. If this game was in New York, which it's not, obviously it's in a better hitter's park, but wouldn't we be considering like would be like one of the core guys we'd be using at 8,600? Just based on his numbers alone this year, he's been really, really good, and against much, much tougher competition. He did put up 22 fantasy points, 21.6 the last time they played. This Baltimore team that was at home, obviously a better situation, but there's room for him to improve on that. And, he did throw 104 pitches, even though he didn't pitch particularly well last time out. Sometimes the Ks can be an issue against good teams. They'll attack him a little bit early. This is not a good team. I think that we have enough Ks in the lineup where we can definitely play some Taijuan Walker. Lance Lynn, I'm sort of off of a little bit. It's not just because I have respect for the Toronto lineup. It's just they don't strike out. If you look at the teams, I think that they're second or third fewest strikeouts in the league so far. So I'm just a little bit off of it personally. And I don't really want to attack them as badly, but I do think that you can completely afford Lynn and Cole if you want to go different with your stacks. Just not what I'm doing as much of, although I will probably have a lineup or two like that. And then I mentioned Brad Keller. I didn't mention Brad Keller, but I do have Brad Keller as like sort of a low-owned, look, this Angels lineup has some pop in it. This is not their full strength lineup. And you just look, I mean, he's been solid enough. He's 5,900. Again, another guy if you want to spend down and play with Gomer. But Gomer's the main one. Gomer is my main guy tonight at 6K. I think that it's just a weird thing that they're not pricing him better. He's been really good, and he's pitched in Colorado. I mean, you look at some of these outings, what he put up against Texas in Colorado, what he put up against, who was the last one in San Diego in Colorado. Like, he's had some tough matchups and he's been really, really solid in those outings. Now, we've seen his pitch count a little bit cut short in some spots. This one was because he was struggling, and it was at Pittsburgh, so they used a pinch hitter for him. At the Mets, we did see him throw 103 pitches. He threw 96 against San Diego at home. So he does have that, he can go 100 pitches if need be, and if things are going well. Now, obviously, he's, there's always that pinch hit risk and things like that with a guy like this if the game's close. Hopefully, he can do his damage early, and hopefully he can just hold this team at bay. So the Rockies can hopefully get up to a little bit of a lead for him, but because I really like Gomer. Stacks wise, we've got a lot of good options today. I'm leaning Red Sox, Phillies as the top ones. We do have some weather concerns in the Philly game. We have some weather concerns in the Baltimore game as well. But I do think that those are two of the top ones. I think the Dodgers are an excellent stack. It's always I'm always a little tentative to pick on Anderson because he's been good against some of these teams, even as he pitched in Colorado. And now he's in Pittsburgh, which is a much better pitcher's park, obviously, and one of the best pitcher's parks on the slate. The Dodgers still rate to be one of the top offense, especially you get a guy like AJ Pollock in at 3,100 on DraftKings, I believe he is, probably batting up to fifth tonight, assuming the lefty-righty, they move him up in the order. And you can include the Dodgers in your lefties in your stack. Don't worry about the bat against Anderson. Just in general, these lefties can hit lefties for power. The Reds, the Brewers, I sort of like making that a game stack. I think that little ballpark is part of the reason I'm tempted, but I like both of those. The Mets and White Sox are my sort of longer shot stack, but have enough pop to sort of be, if they're low owned, just to sort of get you there. And then you can see my favorite individual spots here. Betts, Pollock, Rendon. This is roughly in order. Real Muto, Alonso. Obviously, there's different prices all over here. Some of the values you have: Soler, Dozier, Giancarlo Stanton is way too cheap. Jordan Alvarez, Michael Brantley, Kirilloff against Cole, where you're not playing him. I always like to try and pick out a home run spot against him. You don't necessarily need to do it on this slate. I just think it's kind of an interesting way to go. And I'm aware that I think that I left an R out there. Nomar Mazara, 2,300 on DraftKings, batting fifth, probably, maybe even fourth. I definitely think that's an interesting route to go. And this is a pretty, brief sum up of sort of where I'm at. Other guys not on that list, Brian Reynolds. I do like some of the Pittsburgh hitters, Colin Moran against the Dodgers. I never mind playing some Toronto bats, but Lance Lynn is not a guy I really want to pick on. Keeps the ball down and strikes people out, and it's just not. I just don't really want either side of that too badly. The White Sox I like against Manoah. I mentioned them a little bit, but like Manoah could be great and has the stuff to be great. But we saw what can happen if he struggles finding the strike zone. You get the 3 walks, and then right after he gave up 3 home runs against Miami. The White Sox are certainly a powerful offense, and I think that the blow-up factor is always in play. I do like the Yankees as well. They've really struggled, and Dobnak has not been that bad and has kept the ball on the ground, most importantly. That's why I'm not going to go there, especially when I think others will, although I do love Stanton. And I like a mini stack, maybe Torres or Shella, Judge, if you can get him in. He's just expensive, but just LeMahieu. I'm trying to play more of 2 or 3 mans of the Yankees, maybe some 4 mans, but mostly it's not going to be a full stack for me for the Yankees. Other batters that stand out, just obviously always Freddie Freeman, especially on FanDuel. He's 31. He's 3K. On FanDuel, he's 5,100 on DraftKings. Eflin has struggled with lefties in the past. Eflin, you can also, I believe that just like on these kind of slates, like just playing Acuna anytime you get a chance always makes sense. I like Ohtani as well at the top. They would be my favorite spend ups, with Judge just behind and Arozarena just behind them. And then we've got guys like Billy McKinney, who I didn't put on my list before for the Mets. I do think the Mets stack is definitely in play. They're just expensive, and I think that might keep some of the ownership off of them. They let down people yesterday. Baltimore was the team that sort of went nuts. But you see the prices with Dominic Smith and Jonathan VR, Alonso. They're just all 5,300 plus, and I don't see people wanting to do that. So trying to get your stack with them, I think, is kind of interesting here. We've got Harvey and a terrible bullpen behind him, so I do like the Mets a little bit, or quite a bit, I should say. And Houston and Boston, Houston lefties, Boston everyone's. That's the other game I'm really targeting, along with the Cincinnati-Milwaukee game, which also has a little bit of weather concerns, which we'll get back to on the 6 Eastern show. So anyway, guys, it's pretty basic. I have most of my stuff printed out there. Not too crazy complicated of a slate as yesterday. We, again, keep out an eye out for the weather concerns. Shoot any questions you have in Discord. I'll be around all day. And let's make some money tonight. It's been a really, really good few weeks for me, and hopefully you guys are doing well as well. If there's anything else we can help you with, just let us know. And yeah, check out Sheets' Sheets on the site. They're awesome. I truly believe one of the best things in the industry is his sheets, because it basically is a compilation of what everyone in the industry thinks. So make sure you check out the Sheets' Sheets on truedfs.com. It's free for now. At some point, we're going to have to charge for them, but which is coming up. But I do think that you're getting one of the best things out there, as you're getting sort of an aggregation of everyone in the industry, what they think, combined with, you know, a little bit of Sheets' own algorithm. Anyway, guys, hope everybody has a wonderful day, and let's make some money tonight. I will see you guys at the top of the leaderboards.